Welcome back. In this video, we are going to learn about how to insert the form data into the database using React and Express. For that, go to the entry form. I am going to give ID, value and onChange properties in each input element. First, ID equal to yes name. Okay, then value equal to yes name. The value should be inside the curly bracket because it is a expression. Then in onChange event, I am going to give the handler function whenever the changes occurred in the input element. It should called. This event should be called. For that I am going to use onChange yesName handle. This is the function name, right? We have to define this function. Now I am going to copy this. I am going to use it for next input element. Here I am going to change ID equal to yes department, sdipt. Next, the value is also same. I am going to copy and paste here. Then the handler function is sdipt handle. Now I am going to copy this for the next element. For the email ID, the ID is I am going to change yes email. For value, for the onChange event, yes email handle. Next, for marks, we have to change it as yes marks. ID is yes mark, value is yes mark, and the handle function is yes mark handle. Okay. Now for each yes name and yes department, email and marks, we have to create useState variable. Okay. For that I am going to use let. By using array operator, I am going to define the useState variable and the function. To set that useState, I am using set yesName equal to useState. If you click useState, the useState is automatically imported. Here the starting value, the start value is empty. Then I am going to copy this, and for the yes department I am going to use yes department, and the useState function is set yes department. The start value for department is empty string. For the next variable, that is email ID, yes email, and the function is set email. Then going to copy. For the marks, we have yes marks, and the function name is yes mark handle, right? I am going to change it as marks. I am going to change here also. I am going to use set s marks. S is caps, S is uppercase. Now we have to define the function for onChange event, that is yesName handle. For that I am going to use function setName. I am going to copy here. Inside that, the setName have the default argument, that is event, because it is an event handler function. So whenever the event is occurred, this function will be called, and the event parameter passed to this handler function. Here we are going to log the details which are entered in the input element by using the event.target.value. Whenever we are entering the value inside the input box, the event will be occurred because we have used on change event. For every change, it will be called set s name. Then the target element is name, right? S name. That is the target element. Whatever value entering in that element, that will be printed in the console, browser console. Now go to browser. We have some error, right? Let's check. That is set name already defined. Let's check in the command prompt also. We have two errors. Identifier set name has already been declared. Let's check in our value. Yes, we have. Here we have to define the handler function. Set name is a use state function. We should not define that. Okay. The on change event handler function is sname handle. That should be defined here. Now see here we have only 3 errors. That is, we are not defined other 3 fields. Let's go to our code. Now I'm going to copy that functions. I'm going to paste that for remaining 3 elements. Next we have yes department handle. I'm going to rename here. And then we have yes email handle. Okay, I'm going to change there. And then marks handle, that is going to be replaced here. Okay, now save the changes. We don't have any error. It's working fine. Clear the console. Let's go to the entry form, right? I'm going to refresh that. We don't have any error. And go to the entry form. We have console here, right? Whenever we are entering the value, that should be displayed in the console. Now I'm going to type Arul. See here we are getting in the console but not in the input box. Again I'm typing, I'm getting Arul but not in the input box because we have given the value as yes name. Yes name is a use state variable, that is currently it is an empty string. See here we have the value yes name. That value is empty now. We have to set it, right? I'm going to command these lines for your reference. Now I'm going to call that set name function and then I'm going to pass the value event.target.value. Event.target.value. Now I'm going to type, I'm getting the values, right? Now it's not printing in the console. Okay. Now I'm going to delete these lines and I'm going to rename the function name, that is set department. Next for the email I'm going to call set email. Then for marks we have to call the set marks. Okay, now we have set those details. Now I am going to type the values for student name Arul, department ECE, then mail ID is arulece@gmail.com. Student mark is 91. I am going to submit. Now the details are cleared because the submit button will work as its default process. When we are submitting, the values are submitted and also the form data will be cleared. We have to avoid this by using the onChange event in the form. On submit equal to, we have to use a function save students. Okay, save student is a function. We have to define that. For that function save students, the save student is a event handler, so it have the argument event. Default submit process would be prevented. For that we have to use event dot prevent default function. In the prevent default, D is uppercase. D is in uppercase. Then we have to bundle these student details. For that I am going to create a variable let students equal to, I am going to define the students details in the JSON format. For that I am going to use name colon name. We can specify like this, but we have to specify this property name as our database field name, because we don't want to change in between. Okay, whenever we are creating the JSON, that time itself we can give the name as the original name of the MongoDB, so that we don't want to convert it for further process. Okay, I'm going to have student underscore name equal to name, and I'm going to have student underscore department equal to department, that is colon, right? The each field value should be separated by comma. Next we have email ID. Email ID equal to, that is colon, what is the value? That is email, comma, marks, colon, marks. Now I am going to log this in the console. So I am going to give input in the each fields. Okay, now I am going to submit that. See here, we have printed that form data. Click on here, it is in the JSON format. Okay, we don't want to change the format. We can send this data to the server to store in the MongoDB. Okay, now we have the details, student details in the entry form. We have to send that details to the header.js, because header.js is the parent for entry form. Okay, now we have to send the data from entry form to header, that is the child to header. Child is entry form, header is the parent. Then from the header we have to send to app.js, that is app component. App is the parent for header, header is the parent for entry form. From the entry form component to header component, from the header component to app component, the data should be passed to insert. In the last lecture we have sent the data to parent to child. Okay, that is app component to header component. Then from the header component we have passed the student details to info component, right? Last video we have seen, because we are retrieving the information from the database and we are sending to the parent to child. Here we are going to pass the value to the server. From the entry form to, we have to send the data to header, that is parent of entry form, then header to app component. App is the parent for header. Okay, remember that for parent to child we have used props object, right? We have used props object. For child to parent also we have to use props. We can directly access the variables by using the props object in the parent to child. But in case of child to parent, we have to use function calls, that is props dot functions. For parent to child, we have to use props. We can directly access the property variables. But in case of child to parent, we have to use function calls by using the props dot function name. Right? By using this function call only, we can pass the data from child to parent. Remember this, the data sending to the parent to child means we can directly use the props object. In case of child to parent, we have to use props object, and also we have to use functions to pass the values. I am going to call a function in the parent of entry form, that is header.js. This student should be passed to the header.js. For that, we have to call the functions in its parent header.js, so that we have to use props object. For that, we have to specify the parameter props object in the entry form function. Okay, if you are using the props, we have to import the React. I have already imported. Okay, if you are missed, you have to import React and use it. Now we have to use props object dot, the function name is set student. Inside the function, I am going to pass this value students. Okay, this set student should be defined in the header.js. Go to header.js. In the entry form, we have to specify that mapping. We have set students, right? Set students, copy here in the header.js. Set students equal to which function we are going to give here, that should be defined inside the header.js. For that, I am going to give set students equal to insert student. Okay, this is the function we are going to define in the header.js. I am going to copy that name, and then before return statement, press enter. Then we have the argument as student. Argument students. Then I am going to log this whether we are getting or not. Just I am going to log in the browser. Now I am going to browser. The data which are entered is not clear, right? Now submit here. See here, we are getting the details 2 times from the entry form.js and also from the header.js. Same details has been displayed. Now the entry point to header, we have passed the values. Now we have to pass the header to app component. For that, we have to specify the function in the app.js. I am going to call props.insert to db. I am going to call the insert to db function, which is defined in the app component. I am going to pass the students. Now I am going to app.js. Here inside the header, we have to specify that mapping. Okay, which function we are going to assign for the insert to db. We have to specify this name, insert to db. I am copying here. I am going to use it in the app.js. Insert to db equal to, within the curly bracket, because it is an expression, insert to db. We can have any name. I am going to have same name. Then I am going to define this insert to db function. For that, I am going to use const arrow function syntax insert equal to asynchronous method, then asynchronous, within the bracket we have the argument students. Then we have the definition for this insert to DB. We have to insert into database. Further we have to call the server const response equal to await of axios dot post of. We can use post form also, we see it later. Within the bracket we have to specify the URL where we are going to post, and then we have the data, so the data which are going to be stored. Then we have configurations. We don't have any configuration now, we have the URL and data alone. I am going to copy this URL from the get. The same endpoint is using here because we have same endpoint for the post and get in the server. I will show that. Then second argument is data, which is going to be stored. See here, in our server project we have the post and get both having the same endpoint, that is the root URL slash students, both having the same endpoint slash students. Okay, only the HTTP methods are changed here. Okay, we have specified. Now I am going to log this response. For that, console.log of response. Let's save the changes and go to the browser. We have some error. Yes, we have error in the app.js. Let's see in the console. We have the error, that is a parsing error, missing semicolon in the line number 18 in app.js. Go to app.js. See here, it is arrow function syntax. We have to specify arrow function syntax. What is the mistake I have did? I missed the arrow function syntax. Right? Now I have added. Let's save the file. Go to the command prompt. Now error is cleared. Okay, now refresh it. Yes, we are getting the output. See here, in the student details also we are getting the proper output. In the entry form we have no error. Now I am going to input in the entry form the same values. Email ID is arulece@gmail.com and the mark is 91. I am going to submit here. See here, we have printed those elements before inserting, and then after inserting we are getting these details which were inserted in the database. See here, status text is created. Now I am going to see it in our server. See here, I am going to refresh it. See here, we are getting the student name, new student name Arul, ECE department, and the mark is 91 inserted. Right? Now I am going to see it in our student details. It's not displaying. Just refresh it. We will get those details. And in the entry form, it's not clear, right? After submitting, it should be clear because default operation is prevented. So the submit will not be work because we have used prevent default function. Okay. Then how to do that? Go to the entry form. Go to the entry form. Here, after calling this parent function, we are passing the student details, right? After that, we have to use this functions. Okay. Set name to a empty string. Right. Next, we have the function set s department to empty. Right. Then set semail to empty. Next, set marks to empty. Okay, now save the changes. I am going to insert another data. Let's check whether it is updated in the MongoDB also. Go to the MongoDB. See here our student database. We have the collections. See here we have inserted Arul ECE, the new student data also inserted in the MongoDB. We have verified here. Okay. Now I am going to insert new information from this. Before that I am going to do something, because it automatically update, right? The table should be automatically updated. For that, go to app.js and then I am going to call getStudents method. Okay, so that it automatically call the getStudent method. Then new student details will be retrieved from the server. Then it will be displayed. Now I am going to our browser. I'm going to give input as Rajesh. Then department is CSE and the email ID is rajesh.csc@gmail.com. Then mark is 87. Now I am going to submit here. See here the data is cleared here, and also our data is inserted, created. Okay, let's check in our server. See here our new student Rajesh also inserted, right? I have did another small mistake in the entry form.js. I have specified the ID for the email field. I have specified yes department. So I am going to change now. As of now it won't create any problem because we are not using the ID here. This mistake have not disturbed our process, right? But we have to specify the proper ID for each and every component, because ID is a unique value for each component. In the next video, we will learn about how to delete, how to update, and how to upload the files like image. Thank you everyone.